Hello everybody, welcome back to Hot Girls Eat Carbs. I am so glad you're tuning in today, whether you're on a walk, getting ready for the day, or curled up in bed with your AirPods in. This is your moment, just us girls talking it out. I'm your host, Brittany McChrystal, and this is your cozy corner of the internet where we chat all things health, wellness, and sustainable weight loss. And if you've been loving this podcast recently, it would mean so much if you could take a second to review or rate the show or just share it with a friend who needs to hear it. It helps so much more than you know, and I appreciate it so much more than you know. Okay, today we are talking about hunger, because if you have ever tried to lose weight and you felt like you were constantly thinking about food, you are not alone. You're just hungry, and your body is just responding to a calorie deficit, and that's normal. But I want to show you that in this episode that there is ways to manage that hunger so it doesn't have to completely derail your progress. And you don't have to feel starving to see results. And you don't have to white knuckle it through every day. There are smart, satisfying ways to reduce hunger without giving up your favorite foods and, of course, without feeling deprived. So let's dive into some practical tools, strategies, and mindset shifts that will help you feel more in control and less obsessed with food, even in a fat loss phase. I remember in the early days of my weight loss journey, I was so desperate to see results that I tried literally everything, like every single trend I saw online. The cabbage soup diet, keto, juice cleanses, fasting, you name it. And if someone said it would help me lose weight faster, I was doing it. And I'd always start off strong for like a day or two, and I'd be like, yes, this is it. This is the thing that's going to finally work for me. But it never lasted. I was always starving. I was always so hungry. Like I could barely concentrate. I would come home from work and I would crash on the couch completely wiped out. And I had no energy to train and no motivation to do anything. I was so grumpy. Like I didn't feel like myself anymore. And then came the part I don't talk about often, the phase where I tried to eat as little as I could humanly possible because I figured nothing else was working and maybe I just needed to eat less. And I mean barely anything. I was forcing myself through the day on scraps, hoping the scale would finally move. But instead of shrinking, I started to feel like I was falling apart. My body was exhausted and I couldn't think straight. I had zero energy and emotionally, I was spiraling. I felt so weak and broken, and I honestly thought something was medically wrong with me. I even booked a doctor's appointment because I was convinced that something inside me had just shut down. And that is when I found out the truth. It was just that I wasn't fueling myself properly. This was such a turning point for me because for the first time I realized maybe it wasn't about trying harder or eating less. Maybe the answer wasn't in restriction. Maybe the real key was learning how to fuel myself properly in a way that actually supported my body, my goals, and my life. So if you're listening to this episode and struggling with hunger while trying to lose weight, I see you because I was you. And I promise there's another way. You can feel full, have energy, and stay consistent and still lose fat. So let's start here, because this is such a big one and it's something that so many of us get wrong, especially at the start of the journey. Firstly, I just want to normalize hunger. You're in a calorie deficit, which means you're intentionally giving your body slightly less energy than it uses so it can tap into stored fat. That is the whole point of fat loss. So of course your body is going to notice that. And of course it's going to tap you on the shoulder like, what is going on here? It's just completely normal. Occasional hunger is not a red flag. It means your body is adjusting. But here's the difference. There's a big gap between manageable hunger that you can ride out and that relentless, draining, all-consuming hunger that makes you feel like you could eat your entire pantry. And if you're constantly feeling like you're starving, moody, distracted, and exhausted, that's not something to ignore. And it's not discipline, girl. That's not you being bad at dieting. That's your body waving a red flag. Because sustainable weight loss shouldn't feel like a punishment. It's not meant to be this miserable experience where you're white-knuckling your way through every single day. It should feel like a slight shift. Like, yeah, I'm eating a little bit less than usual, but I'm a little bit more mindful, but I'm still full and still energized and still functioning like a human. So when that hunger becomes unmanageable, that is your cue to look deeper. Is it the food choices you're making? Are you living off low-calorie snacks with no volume or fiber? Is your protein too low? Are you skipping meals and then binging later? Are your stress levels through the roof, messing with your hormones? Are you sleeping enough? Are you even hydrated? Because your body isn't just hungry for food, sometimes it's hungry for rest, structure, and stability. So I want you to know, if you're constantly hungry, it's not a sign you're failing, and it's not a personal flaw. It's not something you need to push through. It's a signal that something needs adjusting. And the good news is, when you figure out how to fuel your body properly while still staying in a deficit, that is where everything shifts. And that is when consistency becomes easier, and that is when fat loss actually feels doable long term. You don't need to suffer your way to see results. You just need a smarter plan. So let's dive into some tips. Tip 1. Eat more volume, not just less calories. This one changed everything for me. If you're someone who loves to feel full, like you want a proper meal in front of you, not just a sad little portion on a tiny plate, then listen up, because volume eating is going to be your new best friend. Volume eating means filling your plate with foods that are naturally lower in calories but higher in size, fiber, and water content. So think like fresh vegetables, leafy greens, fruit, broth-based soups, high water foods like cucumber and zucchini, or frozen berries in your smoothies. These are all foods that let you eat more, not less, while still staying in a calorie deficit. And here's why it matters so much. Your body doesn't just respond to calories. It responds to volume, to chewing, and to fullness. Your brain is constantly scanning for signals like how much food did I just eat, not just how many calories were in it. So when you give your body a big, satisfying, colorful meal, even if it's technically low in calories, your brain still gets the message, I've eaten enough. And that full feeling, it actually matters to keep you consistent. It stops that late night, I'm still hungry spiral, and it helps you stay in control instead of constantly battling cravings or trying to distract yourself from your next meal. When I first discovered volume eating, I was shook, because before that, I was trying to eat as little as possible. Tiny meals, skipping snacks, chewing gum, and drinking black coffee just to survive the day. And surprise, surprise, I was starving and constantly thinking about food. But once I started bulking out my meals with volume, everything shifted. My salads went from boring lettuce and tuna to big, vibrant bowls with roasted veggies, crunchy cabbage, air-fried chickpeas, and avocado. I started adding frozen zucchini and cauliflower to my smoothies. I'd throw in shredded carrots and spinach into my pasta sauces and wraps. And it worked. I stayed full for longer. I felt energized, and I stopped obsessing over food in between meals. And here's the thing. Fat loss doesn't have to look like small meals and restrictions. You can eat big meals that are satisfying, filling, and genuinely enjoyable if you know how to build them properly. So try this. Add a few big handfuls of spinach to your eggs in the morning. Grate zucchini into your oats. I promise you won't even taste it. Throw cucumber, lettuce, and cabbage into every wrap or sandwich. Turn one portion of pasta into a whole bowl by mixing it with zucchini and mushrooms. Make a simple soup with stock, frozen veggies, and shredded chicken to snack on when the hunger hits. And blend your smoothies with extra frozen cauliflower or zucchini to bulk them out. Creamy and filling. This isn't about eating like a rabbit. It's about getting smart. Because when your meals look satisfying and leave you feeling full, your body relaxes. You're not constantly fighting hunger. And that is how you stay consistent. Volume eating is honestly one of the biggest hacks for fat loss, and it doesn't feel like a diet. Once you start doing it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Prioritize protein and fiber with every meal. If volume eating isn't the hack, then protein and fiber are the foundation. These two are your hunger-fighting dream team, and honestly, most women aren't eating nearly enough of either. Let's start with protein. Protein is essential when you're trying to lose fat. And no, not just because of the gains or building muscle. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body isn't just burning fat. It's also breaking down muscle if you're not protecting it. And muscle is metabolically active tissue, meaning the more you have of it, the more calories your body burns just existing. So when you're eating enough protein, You're helping your body do 3 major things. Preserve lean muscle, which is key for shaping your body and supporting your metabolism. It keeps you fuller for longer, because protein takes longer to digest than carbs or fat, and it helps regulate the hunger hormones. And it supports recovery. Especially if you're training or even just walking more, your body needs those amino acids to repair and rebuild. When you start increasing your protein, you'll probably notice you're not thinking about food as often, you're not ravenous between meals, and you're not reaching for snacks at 4 p.m. out of pure survival. And that is what creates consistency, because you're not fighting your hunger every step of the way. And then there's fiber, the unsung hero of fat loss. Fiber slows down digestion, stabilizes your blood sugar, and gives your gut something to work on. That feeling of fullness you get after a meal, that's fiber doing its job. It helps you stay satisfied without adding heaps of calories, and it's found in foods that also bring color, texture, and nutrients to your plate, like veggies, beans, lentils, fruits, oats, and whole grain bread. And the best thing, fiber and protein often work together in whole foods. Think beans and lentils, which are both, or a meal like salmon with roast veggies and brown rice. Here's what I want you to try. Start your day with a proper high-protein breakfast, not a banana, and not just a coffee. I'm talking Greek yogurt with berries and seeds, or protein oats, eggs scrambled with spinach and mushrooms on high-fiber toast. You've got to start your day strong. At lunch and dinner, make sure your plate includes a lean protein source, like chicken, turkey, tofu, tuna, salmon, eggs, Greek yogurt, or a quality plant-based alternative. And a solid hit of fiber from vegetables or beans and lentils or whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, or whole grain bread. Even snacks can do both, like boiled eggs and carrots, or protein shakes with berries, or cottage cheese with cucumber and tomato. The key is consistency. You don't just need to hit 150 grams of protein a day overnight. Just aim to include a solid source at every meal, and watch how much easier your fat loss journey becomes. Because when you're actually fueling your body with what it needs, instead of just eating less, your hunger calms down, your cravings drop, and you finally start feeling in control again. Okay, so this one is a biggie, and it's something I see so often, especially with women trying to lose weight. We've been conditioned to think that if we eat less, the better. So skipping breakfast or pushing back meals can feel like a smart move. Like, if I can just hold on until lunch, I'll save all those calories. But what usually happens? You end up absolutely ravenous by the afternoon. You come home and start picking at snacks while making dinner. You inhale half a packet of crackers or chocolate after dinner. You go to bed feeling frustrated and bloated, and you'll swear you'll do better tomorrow. Does it sound familiar? And the truth is, skipping meals doesn't save you calories. It just delays your hunger. And when the hunger finally catches up to you, it hits hard. That's when we tend to make quick, less intentional food choices. It's not because you're weak or have no willpower. It's because your body is simply trying to just survive. It's like, hey, we didn't eat all day. I'm starving. Give me something now. And that's what's even more frustrating, is this pattern creates a cycle. You wake up feeling guilty, bloated, and not that hungry. So you skip breakfast again. And then the whole thing repeats. But here's what happens when you actually nourish your body throughout the day. Your hunger is more stable. Your cravings drop off. Your energy improves. Your mood is better. And your ability to make calm, rational food decisions skyrockets. Eating regularly keeps your blood sugar stable, which means you avoid those dramatic energy crashes that make you feel like you need sugar or caffeine just to keep going. It also helps regulate your hunger hormones. And when those hormones are working for you, not against you, everything feels easier. So try this. Even if you're not a huge breakfast person, start small. You don't have to eat a full sit-down meal at 7 a.m., but give your body something. A protein shake, Greek yogurt with fruit, a boiled egg, and a slice of toast. It's less about being perfect and more about creating rhythm. Then build in structure throughout the day. A meal every 4 to 5 hours is a good starting point. Add a snack or two if you need it. And don't wait until you're hangry. Honor your hunger before it gets loud. You'll be surprised at how quickly things start to shift when your body knows how to rely on you. because that's what it's really about. Building trust. Trust with your hunger, and trust with your meals, and trust with your body. You don't need to eat less, you just need to eat smarter. And that starts by actually showing up for your body, fueling it throughout the day. Tip 4, stay hydrated. It's not just about water. This may seem like a basic one, but hydration is so underrated, especially when it comes to managing hunger during fat loss. I know we've all heard the drink more water advice a million times, but what people don't talk about is how much your hydration status impacts your appetite, energy levels, and even your mood. Sometimes what feels like hunger, especially that kind of sudden I need something now feeling, is actually dehydration. It can sneak up on you. A dry mouth, a bit of brain fog, maybe a little drop in energy, and your brain thinks it's hungry. But really, you actually just need a drink. And sometimes it's not even thirst, it's fatigue, it's boredom, it's a craving for stimulation, something to do. We reach for food not because we're physically hungry, but because we're understimulated. Drinking something, even if it's not plain water, can give your body a chance to pause and ask, what do I actually need right now? Staying hydrated also helps regulate your digestion, and it supports your workouts and keeps your skin glowing. And honestly, it just makes you feel better. And no, it does not have to be boring. And I'm not about to tell you to carry around a massive jug of plain water and force yourself to chug it all day. Hydration should feel doable and a little bit enjoyable. So try this instead. Start your day with a glass of water before your coffee. Infuse your water with fresh fruit, cucumber, lemon, or mint. It's so refreshing. Sip on herbal teas throughout the day, peppermint, ginger, or whatever you vibe with. Sparkling water counts too. Add a slice of lime or berries for a fun twist. Electrolyte sachets or low-sugar hydration powders are a great option, especially if you train hard or live somewhere hot. Bone broth soups and watery fruits like watermelon, strawberries, cucumber, and oranges are also totally count towards your hydration. You don't need to always be perfect, you just need to be intentional. So keep your water bottle near you and pay attention to how often you're sipping. Even if you're feeling snacky between meals, try a glass of water or tea first and give it 10 to 15 minutes. Your body might surprise you. It isn't about avoiding food or replacing meals with water. It's about supporting your body so it can function at its best. Because when you're hydrated, your hunger cues are clearer, your energy is more stable, and your cravings aren't as chaotic. Hydration may not feel glamorous, but it's such a quiet superpower in your fat loss journey. It's the little things, the sips between meals, a warm mug of tea after dinner that will help everything fall into place. And tip number 5 is eat more mindfully. It sounds basic, but I promise it works. Okay, I know that it sounds almost too simple to matter. Like, Brit, how is chewing my food going to help me lose fat? But hear me out. This might be one of the most overlooked tools in your entire journey. So many of us eat on autopilot. We eat while scrolling Instagram, half watching Netflix, replying to texts, or even just rushing between meetings or errands. And in those moments, we're not actually with our meal. We're not tasting it. We're not noticing how our body feels. We're just getting it done. And what happens when we do that? We finish our food and don't feel satisfied. We mentally sit in that what's next mode. So we keep snacking or we keep craving something sweet straight after. Not because we're physically hungry, but because our brain never registered that we even had a meal. Mindful eating isn't about eating in total silence or staring at your plate like a monk. It's about being present, even a little bit. Slowing down, noticing the textures, the flavors, the temperature of your food, letting your brain catch up with your body so it can actually get in the I'm full signal before you're reaching for seconds. And when you're more connected with your food, you naturally eat less. Not because you're restricting, but because you're more in tune with your actual hunger and fullness. It also helps start building trust with your body again, instead of eating just because it's time or because there's food in front of you. You start eating when you're actually hungry and stopping when you feel satisfied. Not stuffed, just done. It's a skill, and it's one that completely changes your relationship with food. So try this. Sit down to eat, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. Put your phone on the table and flip it with the screen down. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths before you start. It helps shift your nervous system into a more relaxed state. Chew slowly and notice your food, the taste, the texture, and how it feels to nourish yourself. Halfway through your meal, pause. Ask yourself, am I still hungry, or am I just eating because it's there? It's not about perfection, it's just about being aware. Even if you just do it with 1 meal a day, you'll notice the difference. Your digestion improves, your cravings start to lessen, and you begin to feel more in control around food, not in a strict way, but in an empowered way. Mindful eating is the opposite of restriction. It's about being present, feeling satisfied, and actually enjoying your food, which is so important when you're trying to make this a sustainable lifestyle, not just another quick fix. So if you've been battling hunger on your fat loss journey, I hope this episode gave you a bit of clarity and some real tools that you can actually use. You don't have to be hungry all the time to see results. You just need to be a little bit more strategic and supportive with the way that you fuel your body. And remember, your body is on your side. Hunger isn't the enemy, it's just a signal. And now you've got the tools to respond in ways that keep you moving forward towards your goals without losing your mind in the process. If you loved today's episode, please take a moment to go and give the show a rating or review. It helps me so much and it helps this podcast reach more girls who need this kind of soft, real support. And if you know somebody who's struggling with hunger or constantly starting over, send this to them and let them know that they're not alone. And as always, if you're ready for a more personalized plan, real structure, and support from me, you can head to my website or DM me coaching and I'll send you all the info for my one-on-one coaching. You are doing so well. Stay consistent, stay kind to yourself, and I will chat to you next week.